Hello and welcome everybody. Today we are going to make some pizza using Symfony's event dispatcher component. We will create a command line that will be dispatching events along with some listeners and subscribers executing together to create a pizza for our client. Let's see an example to understand the concepts behind the event dispatcher itself to better clarify some concepts like listener, dispatcher, subscriber, etc. So in this application, in our main app.php, we are defining a listener called foobar listener and then adding this listener to the dispatcher. Then we are defining a subscriber and then adding this subscriber to the dispatcher with the add subscriber function. So what is a listener? It's simply a callback. It could be a class and then a function within this class that will be having the event as argument. And what is a subscriber? The subscriber should be a class that implements event subscribed interface. Within this interface, you should implement the get subscribed events, which is a function that should return an array containing the event name as key and then the function that we should execute as value. So for this case, for example, the foobar subscriber will be subscribed to the foobar event, and once this event is fired by the dispatcher, we will be executing on foobar function and passing the event as argument. So the technical difference between a subscriber and a listener, which is visible here, is the get subscribed events. Basically, the subscriber is defining the events that he is going to listen to in the class itself. Now, after adding the listeners and the subscribers to our dispatcher, the dispatcher will be keeping track of each event and then the elements that he should be executing once this event occurs in an internal structure that could look like this: the event name and then all the subscribers and listeners that are subscribed to this event. For our case here, we have a foobar event. We will have a single subscriber subscribed to this event, which is foobar subscriber on foobar, and then we have a single listener listening to this event, which is foobar listener on foobar. Finally, if we fire our event by creating a new event and then dispatching the event with dispatch and giving it the event that we have created with the event name, which is foobar, the dispatcher is going to go back to its structure and then execute all the elements in their priority. Notice that we can define a priority when we add a listener, and then also in the subscriber, when we return this array, we can define a priority over here. Just instead of returning on foobar, we can return an array with on foobar and then the priority. So the dispatcher will be executing all of these listeners and subscribers in their priority order. In our case, he will be executing the listener on foobar function and then the subscriber on foobar function. Now, if we take this into our pizza creation in our command line, we will be having a makepizza.php, which will be the main file where we are going to define all of our subscribers and listeners. So we are going to define a subscriber, which is server subscriber. This subscriber will be serving beverages when we are going to have the pizza ordered event. Mainly when the client gets in, we are going to dispatch a pizza ordered event and then we'll be having the server serving beverages. Then the server will be serving the pizza itself when the pizza is ready. So when we'll be having the pizza ready event fired, we are going to serve the pizza. We are adding a subscriber, which is the server subscriber. Then we are adding a list of listeners, which is basically the steps that we should be doing to bake the pizza. And I'm going for a very generic steps over here. I'm not going into details. It's not the goal of this video. So the steps that I did are rolling the dough and then putting sauce and then putting toppings and finally baking the pizza. Up to this line over here, we are only defining subscribers and listeners and adding them to the dispatcher. Nothing is happening because there is no event that is fired. Now, we suppose that the client gets into our restaurant, so we are going to dispatch an event, to fire an event with dispatcher dispatch and then new pizza ordered event. We are going to pass the pizza itself to the event because we need some information about the pizza, like the size, for example, what toppings should we put, etc. Once the pizza ordered event is fired, we are going to have all this sequence executed within the dispatcher. and all this function will be having as argument an event of type pizza ordered event. So we are going to serve the beverages within the server subscriber, and then we are going to roll dough, put sauce, put topping, and bake pizza with all the listeners that we have already defined here. Once the pizza is baked, it is ready to be served. So we are going in this stage over here, we have all the listeners have executed and the pizza is ready. So we are going to dispatch a new event, which is pizza ready event. And once this event is fired, we are going to have within the dispatcher this sequence called, which is a single call of server subscriber serve pizza. So this is in a nutshell how our application will behave. Let's go and write it with all the details. Okay, let's get started. So the first step would be to create a folder. Let's mkdir pizza restaurant folder. Let's cd this folder, and then we are going to require two of Symfony's components. The first one is the event dispatcher itself. The second one would be Symfony console component, because we are going to create a standalone console application. So we need this component as well. Composer require Symfony console and then Symfony event dispatcher, and we will let Composer download these packages for us. Now we are going to open this with PHP Storm to start coding. Alright, I have my project in PHP Storm. I have the vendor folder and composer.json with its log file. I'm going to create a new src folder that will be holding all my src files, and I'm going to add in composer.json the PSR loading, so auto load, and then it's gonna be PSR4, and I'm going to map app namespace to the src folder. Now within src we will be creating a PHP file, make pizza.php, and then within this file we are going to require once our vendor autoloader in order to be able to use all of the components that are downloaded in the vendor. So require once the current directory, and then let's go up in a level to reach the vendor, and then let's require the autoload.php. Starting from this point over here, line 3, we are free to use any component that is downloaded in the vendor folder. Now we are going to create a standalone command application by executing this code over here. Mainly this code creates a new single command line application, sets the code for it. For now we are setting nothing, we are only returning a success, and finally we are running this code. I have created a YouTube video on how to create a single command line application and the command in Symfony application as well, in Symfony project. So feel free to check those videos. I'll be linking them in the description below, and they will be appearing in the suggestion bar. So let's test this code over here. Now first let's import all the classes, otherwise our code won't be working. So let's import this class over here, the input interface as well, the output interface, and finally the command class for us. Yeah, it's Symfony component console command. Let's display a sample message to see if our code is working or no. So output write ln, and then let's start baking. Now to test this code, we simply start a terminal, cd to src, and then execute php make pizza.php. We should be able to see this message over here in the output of our console if our code is okay, and it is okay. So let's move on to the next step. We are going to create a new model folder, so new directory, let's call it model, and then within we are going to create our pizza model, so new PHP class, and let's call it pizza, and that will model the pizza for us. We are going to have two attributes. The first one will be the status. We are going to keep track of the status of the pizza during all the steps that we are going to execute. Then the second attribute will be the pizza size, which will be extra large, small, and medium, for example. So let's start with the status. We are going to set that in the constructor. So public function construct, and then within the attribute we are going to define a private pizza status and a private pizza size, and let's name it size. Now we are going to create those two. Let's create any enums for these types. So I'm going to create a new class and then change it to enum. So it's pizza status. I'm going to change it to enum. Let's case do, then case sauce, which is the step that we are going to make sauce in the pizza. Then let's case toppings, and then let's case baking, and let's add two cases. I don't know if we are going to use these cases or no. Case ready and case ordered. So each status will basically correspond to a step that we are going to do. Now let's go back to our pizza and create a pizza size. We are going to do the same, basically create a class and then change it to enum. And for this size we are going to have, let's define 3 or 4 sizes. Let's case extra large, and then case large, then let's case medium, and let's case a small. So we will have 4 sizes for our pizza. Now we have only read-only properties. I'm going to generate a setter for the status. Because we are going to set that for the size. We are not going to change it, so we can add it. Can set it as a read-only. But for the status, we are going to set it. So I'm going to generate getters and setters. So getters and setters, and it's gonna be for the status. And here I'm having my getter and setter for the status. Now I have my model ready to be used. Next, let's create our event. So I'm going to create a folder for events as well. So directory event, and then within the event we're going to create our first event, which is, let's create a PHP class instead of file. So new PHP class, and then it will be called pizza ordered event. This class will be extending Symfony's event class, which is part of event dispatcher component. We are going to have one private attribute which will be of type pizza. So I'm going to define it in the constructor, public function, and then construct, and then here I'm going to have private pizza of type pizza. I will probably need the getter of the pizza because we are going to get it somewhere in our code. So I'm going to generate the getter for the pizza, and I think that our event is ready. Now let's create the subscriber. So we have created the model. Now the event, the next step would be to create the subscriber, and finally we can test the whole thing by dispatching an event and then catching it in the subscriber. So for subscribers, I'm going to create a directory as well. So subscriber, and our first and unique subscriber actually is our server subscriber. So I'm going to create a new PHP class. Let's call it server subscriber. It will be implementing event subscriber interface of Symfony, and we have to implement the get subscribed events, which will be a table that we should be returning. So it's gonna be a table with key pizza ordered event. We are going to use the class name of our event for simplicity, and then we are going to execute a function which will be on pizza ordered. Now let's define this function on pizza ordered here in our class. So private function on pizza order. I think that it should be public in order for dispatcher to execute it, and it will be, we will be passing it a pizza ordered event, and then within this function we can serve beverages, for example. So I'm going to call this serve beverages, and here I'm going to create this method, and it will be simply a display of an output, but we are going to need an output. So I'm going to inject the output in the constructor. So private read only and output interface, let's call it output. And here within the serve beverages, I think that I have made a typo in beverages, and let's output this output and then write ln serving the beverages. And let's add a small emoji for fun. So it's gonna be, I'm going to seek the code. So what we have now, we have the model, we have the event, and we have the subscriber. So all parts are ready to be glued together. We are going to assemble all this in makepizza.php. So we're going to remove this message over here. Now let's start by creating an event dispatcher, then creating the subscriber, which is server subscriber over here, and adding it to the dispatcher, and finally firing the pizza order event and see if we are going to have our subscriber executing and displaying this message. So let's first create this. Let's first create our dispatcher. So dispatcher will be equals new Symfony dispatcher, event dispatcher. Then let's before creating dispatcher, let's create the pizza. So pizza equals new pizza, and the status would be pizza status ordered. Then the size would be pizza size, let's do an extra large. I'm going to remove the unnecessary namespace over here so that we have a more clear code. Now we have our pizza and dispatcher created. We are going to create a new subscriber. So server equals new server subscriber. We are going to pass the output as parameter for the constructor, and then we are going to add our subscriber to the dispatcher. So dispatcher add subscriber, and we simply have to specify the subscriber variable. So server subscriber. Finally, we'll be able to dispatch our event. So we can create the event if we want. So event, let's name it, let's give it a specific name. So pizza ordered event equals new pizza ordered event. and we need to specify the pizza as a constructor. And finally, we can fire this event through the dispatcher. So dispatcher dispatch and then pizza ordered event. So now if we test our code, we should be able to execute the same thing over here, php make pizza.php. Then we should be seeing this message over here. So serving the beverages. Let's test it. So php make pizza.php and we have an error. Why do we have an error? The error says class app model pizza not found in make pizza line 20. So let's go to make pizza line 20, saying that the pizza is not, probably because the namespace, so it's a pizza model. All right. And are we using app model pizza? Okay. So let's try and dump the autoload, because I see no problem with our code. So it is probably a problem with the autoloader itself. Sometimes this happens. I'm going to go to my project. I should be in the same level with composer, and then I'm going to execute composer dump autoload. This will dump the autoload for us and probably fix the issue. So I'm going to cd to src again and execute php make pizza.php, and yes, it is working. So I'm seeing the serving the beverages message, which means that in our make pizza.php we have successfully created a model event. We have added a subscriber to this event, and then once this event is dispatched, our subscriber has executed this function over here, serve beverages, which is executed when the pizza ordered event is fired. So we kind of have all the cycle over here. Now we are going to add listeners. So now I'm going to add all the steps needed to create a pizza once we have served the beverages. So I'm going to create a new folder here called subscriber, because I have done all in singular, I think. Yeah, event model and subscriber. So it's not going to be subscriber, sorry, it's going to be listener. And for the listener, the first one would be rolling the dough. So I'm going to create a new PHP class. Let's call it rolling dough listener. The listener is a simple PHP class, so there is no need to extend or implement any interface, as we are going to define which class and which function to call in the event dispatcher itself. So I'm going to create this roll the dough listener, and then I'm going to get the output interface in order to display a message in the console. So public function and then construct. I will write the first listener from start to end manually, but then for all the next listeners I'm going to copy paste the code in order to go quickly. So for our constructor, we're going to have a private read-only output interface. Let's call it output. And we are going to define a function, public function roll dough. It's gonna take a pizza ordered event as argument, because we will be needing the pizza itself. Let's display the pizza status just before rolling the dough to see the status of that pizza, and then after rolling the dough we are going to update the pizza status to I'm guessing it's the dough or something like that. We can see that in the model pizza status, yeah, it's gonna be dough. So let's go back to our listener and let's display this output. Write ln pizza status before rolling dough, and let's write the pizza status event get pizza get status, and then we are going to roll the dough. So this output, write rolling the dough. Let's sleep for 2 or 3 seconds, emulating the rolling the dough. Let's sleep for 3 seconds. And then we are going to set the status, this event, not this event get pizza set status, and then let's set status to dough. Finally, we are going to return the event itself, and here we should be returning event, pizza ordered event. Let's test this code over here. We should probably let's see if this code is going to run or not, because we are displaying an enum as a string. Let's go back to make pizza, and now we are going to add an event listener to our dispatcher. So for this code over here, we are going to create a new, let's create it just after the subscriber. So rolling dough listener will be equals new rolling dough listener. We are going to pass it the output as usual. Now let's shorten this, and let's add an E over here, and let's add our listener to the dispatcher. So dispatcher add listener, and then we are going to add the event name, which is pizza ordered event, and then class name, and then we should be adding the event, the listener itself, and then the function that we should be calling. So in our case is roll dough function. Now if we go and test our code again, we should be seeing serving beverages as usual, because it's executed with the server subscriber. When our client gets in, we'll be serving the beverages, and then we'll be starting preparing the pizza. The first step would be rolling the dough. So let's test again our code, and we have an error. Why do we have an error? Because the pizza status could not be converted to string. So we are going to go to our enum and then set a representation, a string representation for each status. Let's make the type a string, and then case sauce will be equals sauce. The same will be for toppings, baking, and then finally ready and ordered. Now let's go to our listener, and instead of displaying only the status, we are going to set the value and see if that will work out. Okay, so what we got here, we are serving the beverages. Once the client is in the restaurant, then we are getting the status ordered of our pizza, and now we are rolling the dough. And if you notice it, we have slept for some time, meaning that we are meaning that we are emulating rolling the dough. So our first our first listener is executing with success. Now we are going to define our 2 or 3 other listeners, which will be, let's create the first one, new PHP class. Once we are rolling the dough, we are going to put sauce listener, and I'm not going to write everything. So the code over here, it's the same as rolling the dough. We are injecting the output interface so that we can display some text. Now we are displaying, also putting the sauce and with some tomato emoji, and we are sleeping for 3 seconds. Let's sleep for 2 seconds. Maybe it's faster to put the sauce than rolling the dough. Now we are going to display the status. Just let's copy this line over here and display the status here. Pizza status before putting sauce. And now let's see the status. It should be dough because we have rolled the dough just before putting the sauce. Now putting the sauce and sleeping. Now let's return. I'm going to return the event. So pizza ordered event, and then return it. But just before returning it, we should event get pizza. It's for pizza ordered event, not pizza ordered. And let's get the pizza from this event, and then set status to pizza status sauce. And we are going to return the event. Now let's go to our make pizza and add this new listener. I should probably name it putting as rolling, but it's okay. Put sauce listener equals new put sauce listener. I'm going to pass the output for it, and then I'm going to dispatch as well. So dispatcher add listener, and then pizza ordered event class, and then we are going to pass put sauce listener with its put sauce function. So what we should be seeing over here, we should be seeing the same display, and then pizza status, all this display, and then we'll be adding here pizza status before putting sauce is dough, and then we should be seeing putting sauce. So let's execute and see if that is going to happen or no. So all this is already working. Now pizza status before putting sauce dough, which is what we have set in the dough listener, meaning that we are good to go, and then putting the sauce with our tomato emoji. So up to now we are good. I'm going to rename this rolling thing into roll, refactor, rename roll dough listener. Like that we have some consistency in class naming. Now I'm going to go to make put topping. It is topping or toppings. Let's go for toppings listener, and the name will be put topping listener. It will be the same event and pizza status before putting toppings, and then putting the toppings, and the status will be toppings. That's probably it. I'm going to get some toppings emoji just for fun. So I'm going to execute again, and now we should be seeing the beverages, then the dough, then the sauce, and then the toppings. Let's re-execute again, serving the beverages. So I'm rolling the dough, then I'm putting the sauce, and I'm not seeing the topping. Why? Because I haven't added my listener to the make pizza event. So I should be adding my put toppings listener equals new put topping listener. I'm going to pass the output, and I'm going to add this listener to the dispatcher. So dispatcher add listener and pizza ordered event class. And the second argument is put topping listener with its put topping. It's not put sauce. Yeah, the method name is not good, so put toppings. Now let's go back, and it should be put toppings. Yes. So I created the listener and added it to the dispatcher, and the dispatcher will be doing the rest. Now if we re-execute again, we should be seeing the toppings displayed in our output. Okay, Now we have added the toppings. The last thing to add, the last listener here is the bake listener. So bake pizza listener. Let's rename this bake pizza. And pizza status before baking will be the status that we're going to get from the event, and then baking the pizza. And let's put some fire emoji. Let's leave for 2 seconds, and then let's put on the status as baking. So I'm going to create a listener. Let's name it bake pizza listener. And classic output. And here I'm going to add this to our dispatcher. Pizza ordered event class, and then as an array I'm going to pass bake pizza listener with its bake pizza function. Let's replace this and execute again. So we are rolling the dough, we are putting the sauce, we are adding toppings, and finally we are baking the pizza on fire. Now the final step would be to serve this pizza. We are going to serve this pizza through the server subscriber. So in our server subscriber, when the pizza is done baking, we are going to dispatch a pizza ready event. So let's create a new event over here and call it pizza ready event instead of order. And for our subscriber, we are going to subscribe on pizza ready event class, and we are going to execute on pizza ready function. And for this on pizza ready function, we are going to serve the pizza itself. So public function on pizza ready, we are going to have pizza ready event as parameter, and here we are going to do this serve pizza. Let's pass for fun the event itself and display the size of pizza when we are going to serve it. So this serve pizza, we have to create a function called serve pizza. Let's do it. Let's make it private, and here we are going to display this output, right? Serving pizza of size, and then event get pizza, get size. We don't have that size, so let's go to the pizza itself, to the pizza model, and generate a getter for the size. For the size itself, okay. And now if we go to the subscriber itself, should be having get size as autocomplete. Yeah, get size, and then I think we should do the same here. It should be of type string, and then let's make it extra large. Now let's make this large, so medium, and then small. Now if we go back to our subscriber, get size, we are going to display event get pizza, which is our pizza model, and then get size, which is the size enum, and then the value itself. We do have the subscriber working, we do have the subscriber added to the dispatcher, but we haven't dispatched the pizza ready event. So up to now we are only dispatching the pizza ordered event, but not pizza ready. So pizza ready event equals new pizza ready event, and then we are going to pass the pizza ordered event get pizza as argument to our event, and finally we are going to dispatch this event itself. So dispatcher dispatch pizza ready event. Now we should be seeing this output in our console if everything is rightly written. So dough, then sauce, then topping, then baking the pizza, And finally, yes, we are serving the pizza of size extra large. Notice that we have passed the size of the pizza all along the events listener, and then finally to the event subscriber itself. So the event class itself will be serving as a way to pass information through the listeners, and all this is executed in a synchronous way. So that's it, I'm guessing, for this video. I will be posting questions in order for you to assess your knowledge and to more stick the knowledge that we have seen in this video in your head. So thank you and goodbye.